Just wait for 2
Sure,
minutes.
sure. Okay,
Okay,
okay.
Majid sir, please start.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah, madam.
Majid sir, start the session now.
Has the recording started?
Yes, sir.
Because I still see recording being initiated. It's not completely started as of yet.
No, it has been started.
Anyways,
It is started.
it is started.
Yes, yes, yes. Please start.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, sir.
Good morning, all. Uh, uh, I welcome you all, and I hope you are all healthy and safe and sound. Today we have with us Dr. Kabir Abdulaziz. Sir is Agriculture Research Officer, Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria, Mabushi-Abuja. Sir is going to deliberate on the topic of agribusiness management and overview. Sir, you are audible as well as your presentation is visible. Please start, sir.
Okay, that's good to hear. Am I audible enough, please?
Yes, 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 you are audible as well as visible. Also, your presentation is visible.
Oh, okay, that's good. Good morning, participants. My topic of the day is agribusiness management and overview. An overview in the sense that we are going to look at the topic at large. We are going to have a full look at the topic titled agribusiness management. So under the presentation, we're going to look at the introduction and some scholarly definitions with respect to agribusiness management, the concept of agribusiness management, its scope and area of operation, types of decision managements that are applicable to agribusiness. Then we are going to also look at economic principles that can be applied to agribusiness management, agribusiness opportunities in the world, career opportunities in agribusiness, as well as institutions that employ agribusiness professionals. And we also look at prerequisites for success in terms of agribusiness itself. So by introduction, agribusiness itself means it's a summation of just three. Agribusiness management can be described in three words. First, you have agri, which represents the agriculture, which we all know as the practice of growing crops and raising animals for human consumptions and other purposes. So, and there is varying degree in terms of the preparation and marketing of this in agriculture itself. So then we look at business, which is defined by Lewis as an enterprise engaged in the production and distribution of goods for sales in the market or rendering of services for a certain price. It was also defined by Roger Babson as a human activity relating to production and distribution of goods and services, as well as an idea with a view to earning profit, which means whatever you're doing from business perspective, the goal is to earn some profit. Then, if we look at agribusiness, when you merge agriculture and business, then you have agribusiness, which is nothing other than production of crops and rearing of animals in a commercial point of view, so that you are going to earn some profit. So, if we look at management itself, what management is, the act of getting things done. That is, how do you manipulate certain resources in order to achieve certain results? That is what management is, as defined by American Management Association. Now, let's look at agribusiness at large. Agribusiness is defined as the science of choice and decision making. Choice comes here because we do know that resources that we have are limited, but the resources are limited, but what we want to achieve with those resources is unlimited. So that's why we have to choose between the alternative options we have at our disposal in order to see where we can allocate those resources so that we will get the best possible outcome from those resources. And decision making, we do know that decision making is actually a mental thing. You think you have thoughts of whether to allocate those resources to a certain enterprise or otherwise mentally. Then in relation to business of agriculture, which considers the allocation of limited resources. And we can see here, hello, am I audible? Hello? Okay, so agribusiness management is the science which deals with the organization and operation of agricultural business in the context of resource use efficiency and continuous profit. Resource use efficiency because we have to use the resources in the most efficient way or in the most optimum way so that we justify allocating those resources to a certain enterprise and not allocating them to another competing enterprise. It is concerned with decisions which affect the profitability of the agribusiness itself. Yes, of course, because we are talking of management. How do you manage this limited resources that you have? If you have resources in abundance, then issue of management may not even come into play. Because if you have so much resources, you will not care to either manage, however you spend it, you will not care. But you know that these resources are very minimal. That's why you have to manage it in the most efficient way so that you get the most out of it. So concept of agribusiness was first introduced in the book of John Davis and Ray Goldberg, titled The Concept of Agribusiness, which was published in Harvard University. And according to this, it says agribusiness is the sum total of all operations involved in the manufacture and distribution of farm supplies, production activities on the farm, storage, processing, and distribution of farm commodities and items made from them. So what this means is total sum. So it does not take only one aspect of one operational aspect. It takes into consideration all the operational aspects that leads to manufacture of certain goods and their distribution among consuming entity. And it also look at all the production activities that were taken during that time. Storage is also considered, processing, which involves transforming those readily produced outputs into readily consumable outputs, into readily consumable goods rather. That is on the processing aspect. So it in agribusiness, it takes into consideration all of these processes. And the whole goal is to make sure that you manage, is to gain some income out of it, to make profit out of it. It involves production, processing, warehousing, which is also what I explained earlier. Warehousing, when we talk of warehousing, then storage comes into play. In a broader perspective, it encompasses farm planning, weather forecasting. Yes, weather forecasting because you have to try to see, okay, you have to try to forecast the weather and see what could be the consequences of production at a certain stage. Probably by forecasting, you may forecast that there's going to be shortage of rainfall, or there's going to be drought, and by so doing, if you have this knowledge, it will help you to adjust, to take precautionary measures before that situation meets you at hand. Then it involves research. Yes, research in the sense that things things now keeps evolving. Now agribusiness is not static. you have to go into research, maybe like into marketing research and other areas of research to make sure that whatever you are producing is actually demand driven. It's what the consumers want that you are producing. Not that you just go into production of a certain commodities blindly and expect that yes, this consumers are always going to have demand for those commodities. It also looks into soil management, because with proper soil management, there's going to be increase in productivity. Seed production is also looked into. Machinery, plant protection. Plant protection is also very important, because if the plant is healthy, that means you don't have to spend much in treatment of that particular plant. Crop nutrition management, harvesting, marketing, and marketing of products, storage, supply, and value chain operations. Yes, it looks at the supply chain, which looks at how certain commodity or certain product from its point of production move along the supply chain into its processing, storage, processing, marketing, and up till the time it gets into a final consumer. The difference between supply chain and value chain is, in terms of value chain, value is added at every stage in the chain of the operations. Value is added from point of production. When a farmer or a producer produces certain commodity, he does not just sell it like that. He adds some value to it, going into maybe some post-harvest operations, add some little value to it, then sell it or dispose it. Then the next person along the chain will add some value so that he will get additional income than if he is to just sell it like that without adding any value. He will not fetch higher profit in doing that. Food processing, among others. Okay, so scope of agribusiness. Here by scope, we mean area of coverage. What agribusiness is mainly concerned with. Its constituents are, first you look at agricultural sector, which is the primary source of all raw materials that are being used in most of our industries. Then you look at industrial sector. The industrial sector, it deals with processing mostly of the readily produced agricultural produce. When certain produce, say for instance, wheat is produced from the agricultural sector, it passes into industrial sector where it can be converted into wheat flour and so many other products along the line. Bread is also produced there. In India, we have chapatis and so many others. Even though those ones are not actually done in main industries, those ones are also produced on the roadside and other restaurants and so like that. Then you have the service sector, and service sector is like a lubricant to industrial and agricultural sector. You have in the service sector, you have people that are doing some repair of agricultural machineries. You have people who are consultants. You have extension agents who now takes a certain technology to farmers and explain it to them and make sure and try to see that farmers adopt that particular technology. So surrounded by all this by this three items is the environment, which involves the government policy and the social environment. Government policy in the sense that whatever you are going to do, whatever business you're going to do, you know that government has a role in it. If government ban that particular business, no matter how profitable it may seem to you, it will not be feasible for you to make that operation. It may not be feasible to you to even embark on that. For instance, and social environment as well. No matter how profitable it may be, you have to take cognizance the social environment around you. For instance, if you look at in India, you cannot even start thinking of a beef industry in India, knowing that there is religious ramifications in terms of that. So that's why you cannot even think of that. No matter how it may feel to you that it's going to fetch you some money. So these areas are more or less, these are the areas that are concerned in agribusiness. We have the input sector, which is the which produces the seeds and seedlings that we use in production of our crops. We also have technology under which we have we can have the high yielding variety, like India have in rice and many other and some rice, maize, and some wheat and some other agricultural commodities. We have the labor saving technology. Labor saving technology in most cases is the type that saves the labor. When you come into consideration of labor saving and capital saving technology is where labor is high, maybe human labor is high. You look at you look at employing other machineries in order to make that saving. If the price unit price of that is if the unit price of that is less compared to when you are using human labor. The same thing with capital. Then you also have capital saving technology. You also have fertilizers under inputs. You also have pesticides, herbicides, and machineries and other equipments. In terms of output, here you are looking at products that are readily produced, that are products of agricultural cultivation. You can have cereals, which may include rice, wheat, maize, barley, oats, and others. You can also have peanuts, peas, cowpea. You can also have pulses and chickpea pulses. You can also have roots and tubers like yam, cassavas in some parts of the world. You can also have vegetables and spices. You can have fruits, cash crops like cotton, jute, jatropha. You can also have dairy products. You can have meat, milk, poultry products. You can also have pork in some places. You can also have seafood. You can also have other processed foods in this regard. Then the service sector, you have agricultural credit facilities. You have which includes lending institutions. You have the information and communication technology. You have counseling and consultancy. You can have training and extension services, which are mainly offered by extension agents. You can have treatment and veterinary services offered by veterinarians and animal scientists. You have insurance, where you in which case you transfer the risk of your production to a willing third party for a fee. Then you have servicing of some agricultural equipments like tractors. When a tractor breaks down, you need someone to fix it, and those are part of the service areas. So, as earlier said, agribusiness includes three sectors. Involves these sectors: input sector, farm sector. Then you also have the product sector. Okay, so in terms of dimension, we look at the things that agriculture deals with, agribusiness rather deals with, different components of both agricultural and industrial sector, their interdependence and influence of one sector on another. It also deals with decision-making process of farm, either private or government, in relation to production and selling aspects. It also deals with the strength and weaknesses of a project and its viability in dealing with competition from other competing enterprise. And a study shows that agribusiness is market-oriented, contributing over 60%, contributing over 60% of the sub-Saharan African economies and some other developing countries, and employing over 70%. Like in my country, in Nigeria, agriculture is the highest producer of labor, and I also came to learn that in India also the situation is almost similar. Agriculture is the largest employer of labor. So types of decision management decisions with respect to agribusiness. Now, decision, like as earlier mentioned, decision is not a practical thing. It's a mental thing. You decide. When you decide you want to do something, first you have to think it over in your head. you have to see, okay, what are the pros and cons? What are the advantages I may have, or what are the benefits I may drive here? And then you try to put the benefits on one side, then you try to put the challenges or the disadvantages on the other side. Then you compare the two and see which one outweighs which. If you see that the benefits are more when compared to the disadvantages, then that's when you start thinking, okay, I'm going to go on with this decision. So with that regard, decisions are divided into three. First, we have operational management decisions. We have the under which we have operational decisions and strategic decisions. Under administrative decisions, we have supervision, financial decision, accounting decisions, and adjustment to government programs and policies. That is the external environment within which you operate. Then we have the marketing management decision, which mainly deals with buying and selling, buying of inputs and selling of produce. So let's look at this. Okay, under the difference between operational and strategic decisions are, in terms of operational, they are more of a day-to-day activities. So these decisions are made almost every day, depending on the size of the business operation, and hence they are more frequently dealt with. The investment with respect to this is less. And in terms of this, when you make decision regarding this class of regarding operational decisions, you can actually go back and change those decisions without encountering a large cost. Take for instance, you said, okay, today we are you decide, okay, today we are going to harvest maybe you have 1 hectare of land. You said, okay, we're just going to do harvesting of half this hectare of land. So even if you don't have time to do it, you can decide to say, okay, we're going to do it tomorrow. So then you can move on with that decision without encountering so much cost. And these decisions include how to produce, which deals with the method of production. What method do you want to employ? Maybe in terms of if you are going to do planting, are you going to use human labor, or you are going to use machinery as planters? What do you want to do? Then what to produce? What particular enterprise are you going into? Are you going to produce rice or wheat? Those are some of the decisions you make in that regard. Then how much of that particular crop do you want to produce? This is talking about the quantity of production here. Then if we look at strategic decisions, they are more or less the opposite of the operational decisions, in which they are taken less frequently. You take them less frequently because there is a time gap when you take those decisions. Once you make those decisions, it's very difficult for you to change those decisions because you've already invested in those decisions. So any change in that is going to cost you a lot of money, at least. For instance, if you decide, okay, you're going to procure additional land area, and after you buy that land area, after you procure that land area, you realize that we actually don't need this much land. You have already invested money in buying that land. It may not be easy for you to now go back and say that you want to sell the land. Depending on the market situation or market climate, you may lose certain money or in that regard. Then these decisions are not easily reversible. They involve things like purchase of machineries, soil conservation, and what have you. So looking at administrative management decisions, we have supervision, where a manager routinely checks and directs execution of tasks on a day-to-day basis. And we do know that a manager cannot be everywhere at a time. So he has to delegate some certain functions to certain individual or certain personnel in the firm or in a business. So that's why he has to supervise. Even though he delegates those duties or those tasks to other personnel, he has to make sure that those people actually those people have executed those tasks they were asked to perform. Then we have the financial management decisions, which mainly deals with from the word finance, it deals with financial allocation of resources. In the first place, if you are going to establish a business, it's possible you don't have the required capital, so you have to make decision whether you want to borrow loan from a certain financial institution. If so, you want to borrow loan from where? Are you going to borrow it from a government institution or institution? Are you going to borrow it from private money lenders? And you also have to make decision on what particular time it's best for you to go out and borrow that money, so that you don't waste so much time. If you delay the borrowing the money, it's possible it will cost you a lot in terms of your production, or in terms of whatever business you are doing. Take for instance, you are a farmer, you are a seasonal producer, so you have to make sure that you borrow whatever money you want to borrow earlier before the season kicks in. Otherwise, you may do it late, and it will cost you money because you may plant at late, and that could have effect on your output. And how much to borrow? It's talking about the amount. What amount do you want to borrow from a lending institution, and at what rate? Obviously, you have to look at the interest rate, which is the cost of borrowing money. You have to look at which institution is giving you a lower interest rate before you commit yourself into that. Then in terms of accounting, it's looking at book record keeping, maintenance of accounts with respect to costs incurred, quantity of output produced and sold in the market, prices received, gross returns, and profits realized. Yes, you have to look at, it's only when you take note of the accounting books that you get to realize whether you are actually making profit or you are encountering loss. If you don't do your accounting right, you may be thinking that you are making money, but in the end you realize that you have actually sunk a lot of money. Then adjustment to government programs and policies. Yes, as earlier mentioned, whatever business you want to do, you have to make sure that you are aware of government policies with respect to that particular business. Otherwise, you are going to end up regretting what you do, because you may establish your business and government will now come and tell you, no, this business is not allowed in the context of the law of this area, of this particular area. So we look at marketing management decisions, which deals with buying of or procurement of inputs. What to buy, what particular input do you need? Is it just seed, fertilizer, agrochemicals, and what have you? When to buy that is what particular time are you going to procure those inputs? How much of it? That is what quantity or what doses are you supposed to purchase of those particular inputs. Then selling decision deals with what particular item of the output to sell. That is maybe it's possible you are into different enterprises, and you have to decide what particular output. If maybe you are producing rice and wheat, you have to decide what particular output. Is it rice that you have to sell, that you want to sell, or is it wheat that you want to sell? Looking at the per unit price, prevailing market price of those particular commodities, commodities you have produced. Then you have to look at when to sell. That this is telling you that you have to take advantage of you have to take advantage of when the selling price is high in the market compared to when it's falling. So you have to take advantage of that, because if you don't take advantage of that time, you may end up selling your produce at a time when there is so much of that produce in the market. And once the markets are flooded, sometimes based on the concept of demand and supply, you know that when you have high supply of certain commodity, its demand is its price is going to fall below what it should be. And then you also have to look at where to sell. You have to look at where exactly the place, which market. You also, and in that regard, you have to look at where you are going to get a remunerative price for your produce before you decide to sell it. how much of it to sell. That is, what quantity are you willing to to dispose of in the market. Then next one is then we're all looking at factors influencing your management decisions. First, you have to look at the size of business. Yes, size of business in the sense that, for instance, if you want to
Seems I got disconnected. Please wait. I will try to connect with him. Hello, sir. Please wait here. Sir will connect with us within 5 minutes. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Hello? Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm very sorry. I had some issues with power. Okay, factors influencing management decisions. First, we look at the size of the business. We also look at availability of different combination of resources. We also look at level of resource usage. We also
So
look
your
at,
presentation is not visible to us. Can you please share your screen?
okay, okay, let me, okay, just a second. Yes. Sorry, is it visible now?
No, sir.
Not visible?
Sir, not yet. Okay. Okay, sir. It is now visible.
Okay, okay, good to hear that. Okay, so we also look at the level of resource usage. That is, are resources under or overutilized? Because sometimes people have resources, and instead of going for full resource utilization, sometimes people try to put resources idle. So when you put resource idle, it means that resource is not giving you anything. So you are just underutilizing it. It's more or less like you are just wasting that resources at that particular period of time. Then extent of use of fixed and variable resources. Okay, how is the combination of your fixed and variable resources? We do know that resources are divided into fixed and variable on the basis of short term run only. In the long run, all resources from economic perspective, in the long run, all resources are deemed to be variable. Then selection of enterprise. What particular enterprise do you want to go for? Are you going to go for sole enterprise? Maybe you want to just do a rice enterprise, or you want to go into rice and wheat enterprise, or you even want to go into livestock enterprise and incorporate it with crop and other enterprises. Then we have to look at efficiency of resources usage. How efficiently are you using these resources? Then you also look at adoption of new technology. If you These are also another when there are technologies that are already out there, and it's possible this technology could save you more money. It could be labor saving or capital saving technology, in which case maybe when you reduce the use of one, maybe if cost of labor is high at that particular time, you could look at how you can reduce quantity of labor or usage of labor and complement it with capital. Maybe if you have capital at disposal at that time. Recovery of cost, you have to look at risk and uncertainty. Risk and uncertainty are things that are present all the time in agriculture. For instance, this year in so many places we had cases of flood, and these are unforeseen things that we cannot control with our own hands. So the only thing you can do in terms of risk and uncertainty, the only thing you can do to cope with it is you go into insurance, or you go into some sort of contract farming if that risk happens to be a price risk, in which case a falling price or decrease in price will be compensated by that initial agreement you have gone into with maybe another company or any willing buyer of that particular output of yours. Then you have to look at type of farming. What farming are you going into? Is it sole farming, mixed farming, or what have you? Then you have to look at system of farming, whether you want to go into corporate farming or what have you. Then you have to look at your planning and budgeting. It's popularly said that who he fails to plan has planned to fail. So if you don't plan, if you do not have a very good plan, it's more or less like you are already planning to fail. So you have to do that. Then budgeting, budgeting is just nothing other than uh, quantitative quantitative allocation or quantitative realization of that particular planning. You have planned, this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do, then you now formally quantify that plan. That's what budgeting is. Then you also have to look at farm family size and needs, because most farmers, especially in the developing countries, most farmers are having a burden of their own family needs. So when they produce, they look at that output and see, okay, part of this output is going into family consumption. Then maybe some of it will now go into will now be sold out to proceeds of which will now be saved, and some of it will be used in the proceeding production period. Then you also have to look at government policy before you make your decisions. So these are economic principles that could guide you or can assist you in terms of making your decision with respect to agribusiness management, not the decision this time. So first we have a law of diminishing returns from this are just from economic perspective. We have law of diminishing return, or law of or otherwise called law of variable proportion. And what law of diminishing return is saying is there will initially, when you are going into production, there will be a stage. At first, there will be a stage that added cost does not complement the added profit you get. In other words, the cost you are adding in your production, or added input you are adding more input in production. You want to see that your level of production has shoot up, or you want to attain certain output. But in reality, when you are adding that cost, you are only running at loss, because that cost you are adding will not give you a better profit compared to that level that you are. So what it's saying is, in production, in any production or in anything, at first, when you add a combination of input, you are going to expect a certain output. Take for instance, maybe if you are using an input of 1 kg input in the production, then you expect that in the at the end of the year, or at the end of production season, you are going to have maybe 5 kg. So when you take it to 2 kg, maybe you get 12 kg. When you take it to 3 kg, maybe you get close to 20 kg or 18 kg. So what it's saying is, there will be a time when you add that, instead of, at first, maybe when you make it 2 kg, you are having 10 kg, which means you are having double the amount of double the size of production you have gotten when you applied 1 kg. So when you now add it, maybe you are going to get 3. So after, there will be a time when you are going to have a negative output for that particular addition you made. There's going to be a drop in production. So and in this case, there are terminologies like total physical product, which is total total output that is obtained physically. Then average physical product, which is the average of the total production you have obtained, that which is expressed as total produce over your total over your input change. Then you have the marginal physical product, which reflects additional quantity of input, additional quantity of output as a result of adding 1 unit of input. So under law of diminishing return, we have this relationship can be depicted graphically, and on the graph there are 3 stages: first, second, and third stages of production. It is not regarded that first stage and the third stage are called irrational stages of production, because at first stage you are underutilizing resources. at the last stage, last or third stage, you are overutilizing resources. So at the second stage is termed as a rational stage of production, where it is believed that resources are optimally utilized. So we also have a cost or minimum loss principle. So in this case, you are trying to reduce, you are trying to, in as much as possible, reduce the cost of production. And there are terminologies here that includes list cost combination, where you look at the list possible cost combination. If you combine your input, where exactly are you going to get the least possible cost for a particular combination of input? That's when you are supposed to. That's what you are supposed to take into consideration. Then you have the explicit cost, which explicit cost is the actual cost that cost of what you obtain from outside. Take for instance, cost of the input you purchase. That is explicit cost. Then implicit cost is looking at cost of maybe cost of the labor or the management you have done yourself, because you are not going to charge yourself. So if for instance you are managing your farm, it's your own farm, so for you to get that cost, you have to take the same you have to take into consideration how much is paid for if how much is paid, if you how much are you going to be paid if you are to be managing that, if you are managing it for another person. Then you also have to look at opportunity cost, which is cost of foregone alternative. For instance, what is the cost that you have foregone? Now that you have all joined this training program, you must have made sacrifices. Maybe if you are not here for this program, some of you may be there doing some other things, making money somewhere, or maybe they are having to stay and cater for some other things that they have to do. So what is the cost of that foregone alternative that you have that you have given up to join this program? Then we have short run cost, which takes into a long duration, short duration or short period. Then we have long run cost, which is from the name long run, it's a cost that takes into consideration a longer period of time. So next we have a principle of factor substitution, and principle of factor substitution is dealing with a combination of when you have two factors. Say for instance you have labor and capital. So you are having labor and capital. You have to use labor and capital all at the same time in the production of certain produce. So it's saying that how can you substitute one for the other by maintaining the same level of you have to maintain the same level of output. If your output combination is going to be 10, you're going to have 10 maybe like six labor workers. Then you also or maybe you are going to spend 10 lakh at all. So how are you going to allocate that cost in such a way that that same 10 lakh is distributed among the two competing factors of production? And this can be depicted in a tabular form, where you look at where the two are on the same line, or you can use algebraic method, where you equate the rate of marginal substitution of say input X and input Y to their price ratio. Then graphical method, this can be depicted using isocont and budget line. When you impose budget line on isocont, the point of intersection between the isocont and the budget line, that is the point where you are using where you are using the optimum combination of factors. Then you have the principle of product substitution. Here you are producing two products. You are producing two products while maintaining the same level of you are maintaining the same level of cost. Sorry, the same level of output. You are producing two products, but at the same time you are maintaining the same quantity of output between those two products. So you cannot when you are reducing one for the other, you are going to maintain the same level of output, but you are maybe, when one output gives you more in the market, it sells, it has its price is better in the market, then you have to look at how you can adjust those two and see that this one that fetches you more money, you produce more of it by reducing a unit or 2 units or certain unit of the other. You have to make sure that the production is on the same and is on the same plane. At this, the same thing, this can also be depicted on a tabular form, and it can also be depicted on algebraic form, where you have the marginal rate of product substitution of the two products equals to the price ratio. Then graphically, you can depict them where you are going to have a production feasibility frontier. You also you impose revenue line, ISO revenue line on it. Then the point of intersection or point of tangency between the two is the point of optimum combination of products. Then you have a principle of equimarginal returns. So this, from the word equi, it means equal. So in this case, you are looking at two inputs. So here you are looking at where is the point of equality or point of equilibrium between marginal utility you obtain from say A, marginal utility from product A, and marginal utility from product B has to be equal. So you have in algebraic form, the MUA and MUB will be equated into their price ratio, and that is when they are now at equilibrium, or MUA is equals to MUB. So then you also graphically you can use then you also have you can also depict it in a graph, where the point of tangency between the two is the point where they are at equal, they are giving you equal returns. Then you also have principle of comparative advantage. So a principle of comparative advantage is how you can make the most of certain advantage that you have at your disposal. Take, for instance, if you look at India as an example, how can you use India having more population than many countries around Asia, with the exception of China? How can India make the most of its population that another countries will not be able to do, because they are not having that particular advantage? Next one is talking about principle of time comparison. So principle of time comparison is looking at how you can make the most of time. So in this case, you can look at how you can produce certain crops or certain enterprise certain crops. Here you can look at how you can use, maybe sometimes you have high yielding varieties. If, for instance, you produce a certain commodity, the production period is going to take you 5 months. Nowadays, with high yielding, with early maturing varieties, you can produce twice. Maybe you have 1 hectare of land, and normally you produce only once within 6 months. So if you are able to get if you are able to get an early maturing variety of that particular crop, you can actually produce it twice. Thereby, if you produce it twice, you are going to have double the output you are going to have if you are to produce the late maturing type. In that way, we are taking the advantage of time. So you compare the time between time of maturation, or time of maturation between two different crops, and see the one that takes less time. You can take it and take advantage of that. So here we are looking at key management functions in agribusiness. So the other time we talk about decisions in terms of management. So this is the actual management. Decision, like I said earlier, is more of a mental process. But here, in terms of the business, you are now putting the management into action. All the thoughts you have on what to do, you are now going to put it into action. And in this regard, first we have the marketing management. So where you look at the marketing options you have at your disposal. How do you market a certain certain commodity that you produce? Then you also look at the financial management. How do you manage your finances, the finances you have in the farm? Or how do you source extra credit for your business? Then you also look at the supply chain management. In supply chain management, you look at the entire chain from the point of input supply to the point of production, to the point of harvest, to the point that of moving the product up till the time it gets into the final consumer. Then you also look at human resource management. Perhaps human resource management in the sense that whatever is done, the most important resource, there is an argument that human is the most important resource on earth, because no matter how complex a certain computer is, or no matter how complex a certain technology is, it does not operate itself. Initially, even if it's manipulated, or some sort of device or machine is put into it in such a way that it will operate itself and do so many things, like in case of robots, it was the whole idea of that, the whole management, human has to play a role before that is going to be a reality. So in terms of marketing, so like we said, it's a broader field, including branding. So how do you brand your particular output or your particular product so that it's say at the top of competition in the market? Then you also look at the design. How do you design your product so that it will be different from others and it will fetch you more money? Then you look at international marketing. Okay, in terms of international marketing, how do you take advantage of the opportunities outside your own country? You also have a look at social marketing. You look at promotions. How do you in promotions you look at advertisements? How do you advertise your product? Services marketing. Then you also have to look at industry specific marketing is industry specific. So marketing that is done in certain industry cannot be applied in another industry. You have to look at marketing research. Yes, you have to undergo marketing research so that you know what your consumers want before you go into production of it. Because it's always better to produce what you know, what you can sell, not to sell what you can produce. Selling what you can produce may be tricky, because at that time you have already committed your resources in that production, and it will take you. You may find out that that is not what the consumers outside there are looking for. So you have to make sure that whatever you are producing is demand driven. Then you have sales management, retailing, consumer behavior. So and there is what is called normally in marketing, there are four pieces of marketing, which is otherwise known as marketing mix. Sorry, product mix. So first you have to this 4 piece. First, it includes the product. How is the product? What does customer want with respect to that product? How do you how is that product differentiated from others? Then you have to look at the price. How do you price your own product, knowing that there is competition for the same product outside there? You also look at promotion, which entails advertisement. How do you advertise? What medium are you going to use to advertise your product? Are you going to use television? Are you going to go into now social media promotion, advertisement, and what have you? Then please, you are looking at where do buyers and sellers have intercourse. You have to have that particular place where buyers and sellers will meet. How do you meet and sell it? Even though nowadays you can even sell it on e-market, but it still has to be some sort of place. Even when you are selling on e-market, in some cases, that has to be there has to be a place where that transaction can be completed. So looking at market, so basically
from agricultural perspective, we look at markets. We have market can be separated from, there are buyers, there are sellers. Buyers are those that come to purchase or procure certain commodities, while sellers are those ones that come to dispose of their produce. So let's not forget that this in terms of market, there are other this is not the only market. Markets are categorized also on the basis of markets are categorized on the basis of their composition. So then we also have types of agricultural markets. So we have input market as well as product market. So in the input market, obviously, that's where you get agricultural inputs like fertilizer, seeds, and machineries. Then in terms of the product market, this is where you get, in some cases, you get finished and semi-finished products that are readily available for consumption, or those that require additional processing or transformation into a more readily consumable forms. So the next management, the next management is the one that has to do with supply chain management, and supply chain management is just how it deals with the control of flow of a particular product from its point of appeared in logistic literature in the early 80s as an inventory management approach, with emphasis on the supply of raw materials only. So if you look at the supply chain here, it includes, there is supply chain strategy. What strategy or what method do you follow in terms of moving this particular produce, or in terms of moving this particular inputs from the point of their supply to the point where they are being transformed into produce, into agricultural goods, to the point where those agricultural goods are being transformed into readily consumables, and to the point where it finally gets into the hands of the consumer for final consumption. Then you have the product. This is the flow. You have the physical flow. You have the supply chain network, where you have people that play a certain role in moving that product from one place to its one particular point to another along the chain. Then you have performance measures, where you measure the performance of that particular chain, performance of a particular activity. How does one activity, or how does one entity in the supply chain perform when compared to another? So basically, it involves input suppliers, from input suppliers to producers to processors to wholesalers to retailers, who now sell it to or dispose it off to consumers for final consumption. And these consumers may also be some small industries as well. So we have human resource management. So in terms of human resource management, it is defined by Indian Institute of Personnel Management as responsibility of all those who manage people, as well as description of those who are employed as specialists. And it is a part of management which is concerned with people at work and with their relationship within an enterprise. Yes, it is concerned with people at work. How are these people performing their duties? And not only how are they performing their duties, how do they interact with their colleagues at the working place? And because that is very important in seeing that they contribute towards the attainment of the industrial or organizational goal or objectives. Then human resource management, according to shared method, is the planning, supervision. Planning in the sense that you have to plan and see, okay, how who is going to be where. You have to plan. Then you have to look at the supervision, which is more of a day-to-day activity. You have to look at the direction, how you have to direct people. You do this, what is so person going to do, who is going to be in what department, and coordination. You have to coordinate all these activities of an organization which contribute to the realization of the definite purpose of that organization with an animating spirit of cooperation and with a proper regard for the well-being of all members of the organization. Yes, because if there is friction in the organization among staff, then no staff, all the staff, a lot of staff will not be happy with each other, and that is going to affect the output of the organization, and it will ultimately affect the organization from reaching its set target or goal. It is also defined as the part of the management process that is primarily concerned with the human constituents of an organization. So here we have function of human resource management. First, we have among these functions, one, you have recruitment. Recruitment is nothing but how you absorb personnel into an organization. And this recruitment, there are processes also involved in recruitment. In some cases, you have to make advertisement for an advertisement and tell people that you have there is a job opening at so place. When you describe the job opening, you expect that people in mass will apply for that opening. When they apply, then sometimes you conduct an examination, written examination. You invite them sometimes for oral exam, then oral examination, and after that, sometimes a selection is being done. After that selection, then you now identify and select the competent employee based on your set examination criteria. Then there is the recruitment, which is literally meaning how you discharge an already employed officer of an organization. Obviously, there are stages through which you have to follow before you can discharge a particular staff. Then this also goes into, after you employ someone, you have to give him orientation, and this orientation is just to it's more or less like an induction to get him acquainted with the environment, how things are done, what are your goals. You try to show to get him through so that he will know the environment, the working environment. He will know where to go for anything. Then you also have to train him. Yes, capacity building comes into play when we talk of training. You have to improve their capacity so that they will help in the attainment of the organizational objectives. Then you also provide employee with up-to-date skill and knowledge. Yes. Then you manage their performance. You provide compensation and benefit in the form of because this compensation and benefits, they motivate a staff to do more. Then you also develop his career. There is career development that can be done, that is done by the organization. Then you also retain competent and high-performing employee. In some cases, those that did not make up the cut are being discharged. Then under this, we also have what is called the environment, and this environment mainly constitute the government policies and the environment where that organization or where that company is situated. You have to look at the norms and values of the people around where you situate your own situate your own organization. You have to make sure that you are not violating any of those, because if you are actually in violation of those, you will not have peace in that place, and government can even tell you to close down and move away from that. Then there are environmental factors that affect human resource management. First, we have the employee labor unions. And these are mainly organizations that represent and seek to protect the interest of the working class through collective bargaining. And collective bargaining is just a contractual agreement between a firm and a union. So you have a union representing all the working class. Then you have the management of the of a particular organization. in case there is any disagreement over certain maybe wage, working hours, and so many other things. Those things are negotiated and agreed upon by this union and the management. Then you have governmental laws and regulations. So, governmental laws and regulations have serious effect on establishments, because whatever you are doing, you have to take into cognizance what the government says regarding even your hiring, promotion, and firing of employees. It's possible in that environment, the government will tell you, okay, if you have an organization in a given at a certain environment, you have to make sure that certain percent of the staff come from that host environment. You have to give them some quota or something like that. So next, we look at the financial management decision. And normally, like we all know that the reason for going into any business is to make profit. Whatever business you are doing, if you go into any business and realize that there's no profit, you are not making profit in that business, then you don't have any reason to stay in that business. You either close down the business, or you close down and re-strategize. You re-strategize and see what mistakes are you making that is not making you to make profit. Then you move away from those mistakes, effect those corrections, and see if you are going to make profit afterwards. Then this financial management financial management, it includes getting the data needed to make good decisions. Yes, you have to try to make feasibility survey. Feasibility survey is just like you try to get data. If you want to establish poultry at a certain place, you try to do some survey and see, okay, what is the cost of all the items you need with respect to establishment of that poultry? What is the cost of even the land around there? How are you going to get the land? Even when you have the land, how are you going to do the building? What direction is your fence supposed to face? You also have to look at all those things into before you decide to go into it. You have to do feasibility survey regarding that. Then you have to abilities and honest investment in the farm before you are when you are embarking onto this. So you have to see how you manage all these things. Financial information allows managers to understand the current health of the firm, as well as to determine what actions need to be taken to improve the situation. So normally you have to look at your statements. You have to look at the financial statements of the organization, see how your business is going. You have to look at the cash inflow and cash outflow. You have to look at those ones. You have to look at financials. Yes, like I said, you have to look at your financial statement and make analysis upon them, because these are the things that makes you realize whether you are actually making profit or you are encountering loss. So one of those financial statements we look at is the balance sheet. And balance sheet shows you the net worth of, in summary, it shows you the net worth of your business. It shows you the amount of assets you have and the amount of liabilities you have. When you have more liability, it means that your business, when you have more liability than asset, it means that your business is not running in the right direction. You have to try and see how you can make adjustment towards that. Then you also have to look at the income statement, which literally shows you how the business is going over a period of time. So normally for income statement, you look at, say for instance, you say, okay, from the beginning of the year, January to December, or you can just decide to take it like biannually. You take, after 6 months, you check, okay, how have I paid? How is the health of my business? Is it going in the right direction based on my income statement, or am I derailing into a loss? So you have to try to check. You try to see that and make proper adjustment where necessary. Then you have cash flow, which look as in and outflow of money. Cash inflow in this cash outflow in the sense that it looks at the expenses, the expenditures you have made in that business, and cash inflow, look at the profit you have made, so or the income you have generated from making that. So when you have that, you compare the cash outflow and cash inflow. In a healthy business, the cash inflow is supposed to outweigh the cash outflow. If it's the other way, then you know you are in trouble, you are running at loss. Then these are some prerequisites or some things that will help you in succeeding in your agribusiness. First, you have to look at, you have to plan you have to have a very good plan. And in terms of plan, you have to define your mission. You have to define your mission. This is what I want to do. This is what I have in mind. Your mission statement should be very clear. There shouldn't be any ambiguity or any confusion in your mission statement. And you have to, from that mission statement, you try to establish your goals and objectives. So goal can be, you may have like one goal, and you may have like 2, 3, 4, 5 objectives. So you try to address those issues and see how, and then you move to, you also look at the location of your business. Your business location, where is it located? Is it located in remote areas, or is it located in the city center where you know that you are going to have a sort of traffic, or you are going to have a good market for it? Is there access road around there? If you know that there is no access road, it means you are going to have transportation problem. If that your location is far away from your potential market, that means you are going to have excessive transportation cost. So you have to look at that and see, okay, maybe the transportation cost is not much compared to the profit I'm going to get, or compared to the profit I'm getting. So you have to try to look at those. Then you also have to, you also look at alternative courses of action, because resources are limited. So you have to look at, okay, if resources are limited, but excuse me. Okay, so you have to look at this. You have to look at your record keeping, budgeting, research, finance, and what have you before you do that. Then these are some of the characteristics of a good manager. Technical competence. Then you also have to set a prior goal or objective in performing tasks. You must have a sense of observation so that you know when some things are going in the wrong direction. You have to have capacity to analyze activities in the farm. You have to be emotionally stable to take risk towards the business. You have to know that your decisions are time bound. You have to know that you have to know that you must have a good plan to you have to have plan the corrective actions, a corrective step for the activities with the available resources you have. So these are some of the opportunities you have. Obviously, from the input sector, you have a lot of opportunities. You can be into seeds production, inorganic fertilizer, biofuel, and what have you. Biotechnology application is there. You also have livestock industry, where you can engage into meat production, milk, and other milk products, export of agricultural products, forestry and wildlife, mushroom, hydroponics, snail, value addition is also there. You can also venture into poultry farming, which is also profitable depending on the location of the place and depending on the size of the business. You also have to look at organic farming is also another opportunity you have. You also have production of hybrid seeds, hybrid genetically modified crops, and what have you. Micro irrigation, production of vegetables and flowers under greenhouse condition for export. Trained human resources in agriculture and allied industry and allied sciences, fisheries and aquaculture. So in terms of career opportunities, you have a lot of opportunities. You can be a farmer yourself, where you can be self-employed. You can be an agricultural analyst employed by some agency. You can be a market analyst employed by an agency to interpret or to forecast the marketing issues of a particular commodity. You can also be an agribusiness marketing coordinator. You can be a quality controller. You can be a farm appraiser. So you can also, some industries, you can be hired that hire agribusiness professionals. You can be hired by a university as a teacher. You can be hired by a research organization as a researcher. You can be hired by banks and financial corporations. You can be hired by World Bank as an agricultural specialist. You can be hired by FAO and United Nations. Food processing companies are there. Farming industries are there, and so many other ones. So the sky is your limit, actually, if you engage into if you are an agribusiness professional. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please.
Participants, do you have any questions? Any questions? So I think there is no questions yet. So we will
Okay.
continue this session. Thank you for joining us. It was really a wonderful
Okay.
session. Thanks for all the
Okay.
information.
Okay. In
Thank
case
you
if there's
everyone.
any question, the question can be referred to my email, or you can contact me regarding the question. I'll try to respond as quickly as much as possible to the questions.
We can all leave the meeting now.
Okay, no problem.